Good morning, SpaceFlight Insider Live fans. It's Sean Costello, producer of the show. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, down at a one-day MacTech Pro learning event for Apple technologists and consultants. MacTech, big friend of the show, so thank you very much. We have Jason Ryan and Scott Johnson down at Cape Canaveral getting ready for Dragon's Pad Abort Test. That should be kicking off very soon. We have them at the ITL Causeway. So we're going to cut over to them. I see, check the stream. I think they are live now. Let's cut over, see how things are going.
iPhone play-by-play himself with his camera set up. Like I said, the weather here, as some of you may know, there is a tropical depression that is forming off the coast, and we're seeing some of those clouds hanging over the pad. What do you think, Scott? You think they're going to be able to pull this off today?
Well, it's my understanding that most of the weather rules aren't supposed to apply today, so hopefully so.
That's correct. Well, the thing is going to go, I know it's going to go from what Hans Koenigsmann told us over at SpaceX, it's going to go about 5,000 feet into the air. And the acceleration on this thing is just going to be insane. It's going to go 6,000 feet, 3,000 across the beach line, and 3,000 out into the actual Atlantic, deploy chutes, and all of that goodness. So we got Mike Seeley. And who's that lovely person that somebody's complaining we're not? Who? Well, tell Dan. Hey, Dan Bastador over at Florida Institute of Technology. We are up. We love to say hi to you guys. We love having Florida Tech as one of our partners. But yeah, right now they're not monitoring anything that would preclude the test flight today. Now, Scotty, what have you heard about this test and how important it is for SpaceX's plans for future human spaceflight?
Well, this is just sort of the next step in the process. And matter of fact, I just got an article up yesterday, I think, about the fact that this is, I think, step number 16 in a 20-step process as a part of one level of SpaceX's commercial crew contract. And then when they finish up these 20, then we'll have to move on to the next round. But obviously, anytime you're carrying humans on a capsule, you need a good way to get them off in case of an emergency, and that's what this is about today. So hopefully we'll be going here pretty soon in the next 13 minutes.
Wait a minute, Mike, look at that. Look how great your timing is. But the Dragon it sports 8 Super Draco thrusters, which are mounted on the sides of the spacecraft as opposed to the traditional launch abort system. You can see it clearly in the image that NASA's feed is seeing right now. Sounds like Dragon's about ready to go into the terminal count. We're listening in now. So from what it appears, there is one possible hold violation. That is the case of the weather, but at present, it does not seem like that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and I'm not. I didn't hear any details about exactly what the problem is with the weather.
What it could be. What it sounds like is there could be an issue.
Yeah.
So at this present time, we got about 12 minutes prior to the Pad Abort Test here at Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 40, is that it is all green, all go, all the time. So let's hope so, because otherwise, folks, we could be in for a very long wait. Now, Scott, you and I are veterans of these launches. We've seen more than our fair share. And we've seen windows lasting an hour and 40 minutes, maybe a couple. I think one was 4 hours. I think was the longest I remember. But this one actually is 7 hours long, so it can actually extend through 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think 4 o'clock Eastern, yes, from 9 o'clock a.m. to
weather,
4
but
o'clock
at
Eastern.
present, it does not seem like that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and I'm not. Okay. I didn't hear any details about.
Sean, we're getting a bit of an echo back in our mic, so if you could take a headphones, if you could take a look at that. But at present, what it sounds like. yesterday we were out at the pad and we set up 12 still cameras and 4 video recorders. However, last night this tropical depression came in and it dumped water in all of them. So we have a lot of concerns exactly what we're going to get from the pad. But fortunately, we have a very strong team of about 7-8 people here now that are at the ITL Causeway with cameras poised and video recorders poised for this test sport. So at present, everything still seems to be looking go. And of course, you hear Mike Curie there, the voice of NASA's launch control these days. But so far, NASA and SpaceX do not appear to be working anything. This is a very different situation than what we've experienced in the past, where we would come out here and we would set up and we'd go get our remotes shortly thereafter. They've actually said that they might be some time before we can pick up our remotes, and if there's a delay today, we actually can't go out and clean the lenses on any of the cameras or do anything with them. We just have to leave them as is. So it's a very different situation. It's very unique for us, and in a way, that's kind of why you came down for this, and why I'm kind of stoked to be here, because it is so different.
Well, it's a unique situation. I think that it's probably one of the few opportunities, maybe the only opportunity, that you'll actually see something undershoots here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I know SpaceX later this year has a launch abort. That's going to happen out at Vandenberg in the Pacific, and it's going to be way downrange. And then, I think in a couple of years they're going to do an Orion abort out of here, but that's going to be on a Peacekeeper, I believe.
That is going to be over at Slick 46. I'm not sure. I got the numbers mixed up, but yeah, that's going to be on a Peacekeeper upper stage, but that's going to be in 2018.
Yeah, and and with that kind of booster behind it, there's no telling how far downrange that'll be, so it would probably be out of sight. So if anybody wants to see a capsule come down under chutes,
that'd be the one.
This is probably, today is probably the one.
Yeah, today is probably the one. But I mean, the thing is, it's starting to see these actions where we move forward towards human spaceflight coming back to Kennedy and Cape Canaveral is pretty exciting, because it's been since 2011. I remember when the wheels stopped on Atlantis on 135. It's like, when are we going to see something like this again? It's not the same as a shuttle, but it is pretty exciting. Folks, just so you know, as we mentioned, neither I nor Scott have ever experienced this before, and we've got an assistant photography team. So what you're probably going to see is we're going to be here for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to close up our live webcast today. We might pick up afterwards. We're considering picking up afterwards should everything work out just fine. I think Sean and Cannon would very much appreciate about 5 to 10 minutes just to wrap up what we saw. But at that point, I think it's going to be kind of hard, considering that when that happens, everybody's going to be crammed onto the buses. So we might not be able to do anything with that. So with that, we're going to take a double check of the time real quick. And again, they are not working any issues at this time. We got about 8 minutes prior to today's pad abort test, I should say. So with that, folks, we apologize for the late delay. It has been a very fluid situation here at Kennedy and at Cape Canaveral. We've tried to get things set up as quickly as we could, but there's a lot of different factors that have brought into play. We're actually supposed to go to another site, and at the very last minute, they moved us, and we had to scramble to kind of get everything set up. So, and with about 7.5 minutes prior to this pad abort test, I think we're going to close. I'm going to give a big shout out to Sean Costello with Background Backup, who's our producer. He's in Atlanta this week, helping us to make sure that we can bring this pad abort test to you. And stay tuned for updates from the next event that we have at Cape Canaveral. We'll be streaming live. As you know, SpaceFlight Insider is working to bring everything to you as close as possible. And we look forward to bringing the next flight, next test, and next events to you. So with that, go SpaceX, go Dragon.